The glass walls of Vale Industries' top-floor office reflected the chaos outside, but inside, the storm was personal. Lila Hart's heart pounded as Adrian Vale, the man who controlled half the city's skyline and most of her life, locked the door behind her. "I need you to be my girlfriend," he said, voice low, urgent. She blinked. "Excuse me?" "I mean it," he continued, eyes dark and unyielding. "Only until this is over. The board, the investors, my family, they need a story. You'll be it." Lila's stomach twisted. Her boss, her career, her life, now tangled in a lie she couldn't escape. "It's temporary," he said, as if reading her fear. "Just until the chaos ends. And then, nothing changes." But Lila already knew it wasn't just business. The dangerous way his gaze lingered, the tension in his voice, the brush of his hand against hers, it was already personal. And in the world of Vale Industries, where power was everything and love was forbidden, choosing to trust him could destroy her or consume them both. And outside the office, someone was already watching, waiting for the first move that could ruin everything. Before diving into the details of this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more thrilling stories. When Adrian Vale walked into the office, storms usually followed. The CEO of Vale Industries was made of precision and sharp edges, the kind of man who swallowed chaos and demanded calm. So when he summoned Lila to his glass-walled office and closed the blinds, something he never did, her breath hitched. "I need a favor," he said, voice smooth but uneasy. "A personal one." She laughed nervously. "Do you need another report edited, or should I schedule you a fourth board meeting this week?" "No," he said, eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that silenced every joke in her throat. "I need you to be my girlfriend." The world tilted. It sounded like a joke. It wasn't. He explained. His family was coming into town, the board was restless, competitors were circling, and an engagement rumor, one he had never confirmed, had spiraled beyond control. Now he needed someone grounded, trustworthy, believable. He needed her. Only until things calmed down, he promised. Just until this was over. Lila knew the risks. He was her boss. This was her job, her reputation, her heart. But then he said softly, "I trust you, Lila. And I don't trust anyone." Her answer was yes. It started in practice smiles and stage dinners. A hand on her waist for show. His jacket around her shoulders because the cameras might be watching. Whispered conversations, nights rehearsing their story, laughter that began as pretend and turned terrifyingly real. Then came the moments he didn't have to fake. When she tripped and he caught her, holding her longer than necessary. When he watched her talk and forgot to blink. When she rested her head on his shoulder and he exhaled like it was the first real breath he'd taken in years. Lines blurred. The man everyone feared showed her quiet things, his late-night doubts, his loneliness, the weight he carried alone. And somewhere between business meetings and borrowed kisses, Lila began to fall. She wasn't sure when pretending stopped feeling like acting. She wasn't sure it ever had. His family adored her. The board approved of her. The world believed them. And Adrian began looking at her like she was no longer part of a plan, but part of his life. But every fairy tale has an expiration date, especially one built on terms and conditions. The crisis ended. The board settled. The investors relaxed. The rumors died. The world no longer needed their lie. And suddenly, there it was, the conversation she'd been dreading. In his office again. Glass walls. Storms gathering behind his eyes. "It's over," he said gently. Her heart cracked. She nodded, hiding the tremble in her voice. "Back to normal." He reached for her hand. "Lila," he whispered, voice raw, "what if I don't want normal anymore?" Her breath caught. But before she could speak, before she could confess the truth burning inside her, the door burst open. His assistant stood there, pale, breathless. "Adrian, you need to see this. It's everywhere." He froze. Lila turned. On the monitor behind them, headlines blazed. A photo of them. A ring that wasn't real. A story neither of them wrote. Confirmed, Adrian Vale secretly engaged for a year, wedding date leaked. Her heart pounded. His jaw tightened. And then his eyes found hers, full of something she'd never seen before. Fear. Desperation. "Lila," he whispered, stepping closer. "We have to talk. But first, you need to know something. Something I should have told you from the beginning." She swallowed. "Adrian, what are you hiding?" He opened his mouth, and the office door slammed shut behind them. The office door slammed with a force that rattled the glass walls. For a breathless second, neither of them moved. Adrian's hand tightened around hers, instinctively shielding her from whatever storm was crashing toward them. Then the door opened again. His mother walked in, elegant, composed, terrifying in that quiet, controlled way only a woman who had built empires alongside her son could be. "Close the blinds," she said calmly. Adrian stiffened. "Mother." "Now." He obeyed. Lila's pulse thundered in her ears. Mrs. Vale's gaze slid toward her, not cruel, not warm, just assessing, measuring, as though Lila were an equation and she was the solution the world hadn't solved yet. "So," Mrs. Vale said, folding her arms, "you were going to tell her eventually, weren't you?" Adrian swallowed hard. "Yes." "Tell me what?" Lila whispered. Silence. He turned toward her, grief flickering across his features like lightning behind storm clouds. "The engagement rumor?" he said slowly. "It wasn't supposed to involve you. The board, my competitors, my family, everyone believes it because..." He hesitated, pain tightening his jaw. "Because I let them." Lila shook her head, confusion spiraling. "But why? We staged everything. It was temporary. You said..." "I know what I said," he cut softly. "And I meant it. At first." He dragged a hand through his hair, breath uneven for once. "Vulnerable. Human. Years ago," he continued, "I promised my father I'd secure the company by securing stability. He believed investors trusted men with settled lives. He made a deal before he died. If I didn't announce an engagement by 30, control of Vale Industries would shift into the board's hands." Lila's stomach dropped. "So you pretended," she whispered. "I pretended," he whispered back. "Until pretending with you stopped feeling like a strategy and started feeling like..." He broke off. He didn't have to say it. She felt it in the silence between them. Mrs. Vale's voice cut in sharply. "There's more." She placed a tablet on the desk. A new headline was flashing. Larger, bolder. Adrian Vale's secret fiancé identified. Meet Lila Hart, the woman who stole the CEO's heart. Photos. Videos. A timeline. Details only someone close could know. Someone leaked everything. Every fake dinner. Every public smile. Every private moment they thought belonged only to them. The world believed they were not just together, but engaged. Her job. Her reputation. Her life. Gone. Rewritten by strangers. "I can fix this," Adrian said, voice lethal with determination. "I'll call a press conference. I'll tell them the truth. I'll take the fall." Mrs. Vale's expression hardened. "If you do, the board takes control within days. They won't just remove you, Adrian. They'll destroy you." Lila's breath hitched. "Then what do we do?" His mother's eyes softened, only slightly, as they landed on Lila. "You get married." Silence swallowed the room. Lila staggered back as if the word itself had weight. Married. Not pretend. Not temporary. Not business. A life. Adrian looked at her like a man torn in half. "Lila, I would never trap you. You deserve choice. Freedom. Not a contract disguised as forever." Her heart ached at the sincerity in his voice. At the fear behind it. At the love she almost believed might really be there. "What if," she whispered, hands trembling, "it isn't a trap?" He stared at her, shock breaking through the steel of his composure. But before he could step closer, before either of them could breathe, Mrs. Vale's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and went pale. "What is it?" Adrian demanded. She looked at both of them, dread settling in her eyes. "The leak didn't come from the board," she said quietly. "It came from someone inside this building. Someone very close." Lila felt the room sway. Someone they trusted. Someone who wanted this. Someone who benefited from chaos. And then the office intercom crackled. "Mr. Vale," came his assistant's trembling voice. "Security just escorted someone upstairs. They insisted on speaking to you and Lila." "Who?" Adrian asked, voice turning cold. A beat of silence. "Your ex." Lila's stomach sank. Her mind raced through possibilities, but there was only one person who could fit that description. Adrian's jaw tightened, the sharp edge of his control snapping back into place. "Ex." His voice was low, lethal. The elevator doors opened with a soft chime. A man stepped out. Impossibly composed. A smile that didn't reach his eyes. And a presence that made Lila's heart stop for a reason she didn't want to admit. "Hello, Adrian," the man said smoothly. "I see you've been busy." Lila froze. Memories she had tried to bury surged forward. Late nights, whispered arguments, promises broken, and the night she had left him without looking back. "This isn't the time, Mark," Adrian said, his tone ice over steel. "What do you want?" Mark's gaze slid toward Lila. "Oh, I think you know what I want. But first, congratulations. Looks like you two have been very convincing." Adrian stepped in front of Lila, protective and unyielding. "She's not part of this." Mark's smile widened. "She is now. That's why I came. You've got something I want, Adrian. And I don't like waiting." Lila's breath caught. She could feel the tension coiling in the air like a live wire. Adrian's hand found hers, squeezing it tightly. "Stay close," he warned. Mark's eyes flicked between them, amusement and danger warring in his expression. "This is going to be interesting," he said, and then leaned closer to whisper, "especially for you, Lila. I know all your secrets." Her heart lurched. All her secrets? Adrian's grip tightened, his voice low and dangerous. "I said stay close. And don't you dare." Before he could finish, Mark reached into his pocket and pressed something. The flash. A blinding light filled the room. Lila screamed. Adrian shielded her, his body a wall. When the light cleared, she realized something terrifying. The office doors were locked from the outside. And the monitors, every single one, was now flashing their private moments, every staged kiss, every tender touch, broadcast live to the world. Adrian's voice was barely audible, rough with panic. "They've hacked everything. Lila, they're going to ruin us." Mark's laughter echoed through the office. "And now," he said slowly, savoring the moment, "the real game begins." Lila's hand trembled in Adrian's, but her resolve hardened. "They can't take him. Not now. Not ever." Adrian's eyes met hers, dark, stormy, and filled with something he had never allowed himself to show before. "I won't let them," he said. "I swear, I won't let them touch you, or us." Mark smirked. "Oh, Adrian, it's never been just business. And now? It's personal." The monitors flickered, showing a countdown timer. 24 hours. Lila swallowed hard, gripping Adrian's hand. "What do we do?" Adrian's eyes darkened, his voice steady but deadly. "We fight. Together." And then Mark pressed another button. The room went dark. Except for one screen. One single message blinking in ominous red letters. "Lila's life is now part of the deal." Her heart raced. Adrian's jaw clenched. And in that moment, the world outside, the office, the company, even the life they had been pretending to live, vanished. Lila's pulse thundered in her ears as the red letters burned on the screen. Adrian's grip around her hand was iron-tight, his thumb brushing over hers in a silent, grounding reassurance. "Talk." The message echoed in her mind. 24 hours. "Why her?" a voice hissed behind them. Lila turned to see Mark, leaning casually against the wall, a smirk curling his lips. "She's the weak point, Adrian. Always the weak point." Adrian's eyes flared. "She's not weak." His voice was low, sharp, unyielding. "And you're not touching her." Mark shrugged, stepping closer. "We'll see about that. You see, Adrian, everything you've built, everything you've faked, it ends tonight if you can't play my game. And I love games." Lila felt herself shivering, not from the cold, but but from the danger wrapping itself around her like a living thing. She could see it in Adrian's eyes, the familiar steel, the fear he never allowed anyone to see, now sharpened by something darker, protective fury. "Lila," he said, voice low and dangerous, "listen to me. Whatever happens, you follow my lead. No questions." Her throat went dry, but she nodded. "I trust you." Adrian pressed a button on his phone. The office lights flickered. Security cameras, building access, everything Adrian controlled was now under his command. But he couldn't block the monitors. He couldn't stop Mark. Mark's smile widened as he tapped on his own device. "Oh, don't worry. The world is watching. Every kiss, every whisper, every lie you two ever shared live. And the clock is ticking." Lila's stomach dropped. She looked at Adrian. Trapped. He didn't answer immediately. He simply pulled her closer, the lines between boss, protector, and lover blurring entirely. "Trapped is temporary. We survive together. Always." A sharp ding echoed from Mark's device. A new message appeared on the monitors. "Rule number 1. If you step out of line, she dies." Lila's hand flew to her mouth. Adrian's jaw tightened. "He thinks he can scare me," he muttered under his breath. Then louder, "But he doesn't know me." Mark laughed. "Oh, I know you, Adrian. I know what you can't admit. And I know what she means to you. That is why you'll fail." Lila's breath hitched. She had known him as a boss, a man of control, precision, and cold strategy. But the man before her now was raw, dangerous, vulnerable in ways that made her heart ache. Adrian turned to her, eyes dark, unwavering. "I'm not letting him take you. Not for a second." Before Lila could respond, the office door slammed again, but this time it wasn't Mark. It was the security chief, face pale, eyes wide. "Sir, it's not just the monitors. Someone has planted something inside the building. Something lethal. We don't know where, but..." Adrian's hand clenched around hers. "Get everyone out. Protect the staff. And us." Lila whispered, fear gripping her. He leaned close, lips almost brushing her ear. "We survive. Together. No matter what." The lights flickered one last time before plunging the office into darkness. The countdown timer remained glowing red on the monitors. 23 hours, 47 minutes, and 12 seconds. Lila's heart pounded. Adrian's lips hovered near hers. Not a kiss, not yet, but a promise. Outside, the city lights blinked, unaware of the storm unfolding in one glass-walled office. Inside, two people who had pretended, lied, and fallen in love were about to face something that was never just business. And the clock was ticking. The office was plunged into darkness, the only light coming from the red countdown on the monitors. Lila's breath came in shallow gasps, but Adrian's steady hand around hers was an anchor. "Stay close," he whispered. "No matter what." The sound of boots echoed from the hallway outside. Not Mark's. Someone else. Security? Or another player in this twisted game? Adrian moved with lightning speed, pulling Lila behind the massive mahogany desk. Mark's voice came through the monitors, chilling and playful. "I hope you like puzzles, Adrian. You've got exactly 23 hours to figure this one out. Fail, and it won't just be your career on the line." Lila's hands trembled. "What does he want?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Adrian's eyes scanned the room. "Every exit. Every corner. To break us. To make us afraid. But he doesn't know how dangerous love can be." He pressed a hidden button under the desk. A panel slid open, revealing a small armory of emergency tools and phones. Lila blinked. "You prepared for this?" "Always," Adrian said, though his jaw was tight. "But this is bigger than I imagined." The office door rattled. A shadow moved across the frosted glass. Adrian's grip tightened. "Stay low. And remember, trust me." Lila swallowed hard, nodding. Her heart raced, not just with fear, but with something far more dangerous. Desire. The kind that burned hotter under pressure, under the threat of losing everything. The door burst open, and Mark walked in, calm, smug, holding a device that made Lila's stomach twist. "Tick-tock, Adrian. I hope you're ready. Adrian stepped in front of her, fists clenched. You want a war? You got one. But you'll leave her alive only if I say so. Mark laughed. Oh, I intend to test that loyalty. I wonder, does she even know what she means to you? Lila's chest tightened. She had spent weeks hiding her feelings, pretending to be just part of his plan. But now, adrenaline pumping, fear sharpening every nerve, she couldn't hold back. You're not touching me, she snapped, her voice trembling but fierce. Mark's eyebrows lifted in surprise. I like that. Adrian's hand slid into hers, squeezing tightly. See? I told you. Together. Mark tapped his device. Suddenly, a hidden panel in the ceiling opened, and smoke poured in, thick and acrid. Alarms blared. The monitors flickered, the countdown speeding faster. 23 hours, 35 minutes and 12 seconds. Adrian grabbed Lila, pulling her toward the hidden emergency stairwell. We're not dying here. Not like this. Follow me. They ran through the darkness, twisting corridors, every shadow a potential threat. Behind them, Mark's laughter echoed through the building, taunting and cruel. Lila stumbled. Adrian caught her, holding her close. I've got you, he said, his lips brushing her temple. No one's taking you from me. Her heart nearly stopped. Fear, adrenaline, and longing collided. Adrian? But there was no time for more. A distant explosion shook the floor, sending papers flying, alarms blaring louder. Almost there, Adrian muttered, pulling her into a narrow service elevator. The doors slid shut just as a shadow lunged where they had been. Inside the elevator, they pressed their foreheads together, breathing in sync. Danger surrounded them, but so did something else, raw, undeniable, burning between them. Adrian's hand cupped her cheek. When this is over. Lila looked into his eyes. We survive first. Then, maybe we live. The elevator lurched downward. The countdown on Adrian's hidden phone flashed faster. 23 hours, 12 minutes and 47 seconds. Outside, the city was oblivious. Inside, the game had begun. And neither of them knew who would survive, or if their hearts could survive it too. The service elevator rattled violently as it descended, each jolt sending Lila's heart into her throat. Outside, sirens screamed, smoke curled through the hallways, and somewhere above, Mark's laughter still taunted them. Adrian pressed himself closer, shielding her instinctively. His lips brushed her temple again, but this time it wasn't just a fleeting comfort, it was a promise. We're close, he muttered, scanning the elevator's control panel. I know a way out, but it's risky. Lila nodded, fear and determination warring inside her. Then we take the risk. Together. The elevator groaned to a halt between floors. The doors wouldn't open fully. Adrian cursed under his breath. Of course. He grabbed a fire axe from the emergency compartment and swung at the doors. With a metallic screech, they gave way. The corridor outside was chaos. Smoke, sparks, and debris littered the floor. But beyond the chaos, they saw Mark, waiting, device in hand, a sinister grin spreading across his face. Well, he sneered. Look who's still alive. I almost felt sorry for you, Adrian. Adrian stepped in front of Lila. If you move toward her, I swear. I will move toward her, Mark interrupted, raising his device. And there's nothing you can do. Lila's pulse pounded. But before Adrian could react, a shadow moved behind Mark, fast, precise. A sharp metallic clang, and the device fell from Mark's hand, sparking. It was Adrian's mother. Mrs. Vale had always been calm, calculating, formidable, but now she moved with lethal efficiency. You underestimate the family, she said coldly, eyes locked on Mark. Mark's smirk faltered. You. Before he could react, security officers, whom Adrian had secretly coordinated with earlier, surrounded him. He was restrained, but his glare at Adrian promised this wasn't over. Adrian turned to Lila, relief washing over him in waves. Are you okay? She nodded, trembling, and threw herself into his arms. I thought we were done for. He held her tight, brushing the hair from her face. Not today. Not ever. For the first time, the chaos around them faded. The smoke, the alarms, even Mark's menacing presence seemed distant. All that mattered was this moment. Lila looked up at him, her voice small but fierce. "Adrian, I can't pretend anymore. I'm in love with you. Always have been." His chest tightened. "Lila, I swear, I was pretending for the world, but not for us. Not ever. I've been falling for you every second." They kissed, long, desperate, as if sealing every unspoken confession, every stolen glance, every dangerous heartbeat into one moment of truth. The building still smoldered, but in that kiss, the storm outside didn't matter. They were alive. Together. And finally, it wasn't just business. Later, on the rooftop, the city sprawled below them, oblivious. The fire trucks left, the chaos cleared, and Adrian held Lila against him, both of them catching their breath. "Are we done?" Lila asked, still clutching his jacket. "For now," he said, voice low, lips brushing her ear. "But something tells me, in our lives, done is never permanent." Lila laughed softly, leaning into him. "Then let's face it together." He kissed her forehead. "Always. Until this is over and beyond." The camera zoomed out from the rooftop, city lights sparkling like a million promises. And somewhere, deep in the shadows, Mark's eyes glimmered on a laptop, the faintest smirk curling his lips.